Welcome to the channel. In this video uncovering one of the hottest topic in the coin collecting world, the most valuable 1974 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin holds both historical and collector appeal, especially for enthusiasts of pre-decimal and early decimal Australian currency. Issued as part of Australia's standard decimal currency system that began in 1966, this coin features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, which was in use from 1966 to 1984. On the obverse side, Queen Elizabeth II faces right, wearing a royal tiara, with the legend Elizabeth II Australia 1974 encircling her. The reverse, designed by Stuart Devlin, features an image of a superb lyrebird, a native Australian bird known for its impressive tail feathers and mimicking abilities, surrounded by intricate engraving and curved lines, with the denomination 10 clearly displayed. This coin was struck in copper-nickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a mass of 5.65 grams, a diameter of 23.6 millimeters, and a reeded edge. In 1974, these coins were minted in both circulation strike and proof strike formats. Approximately 36.6 million 10-cent coins were minted that year, making it relatively common in circulated condition but much scarcer in high grades or in mint state, MS, or proof conditions. Due to their metal content, these coins also carry a modest intrinsic value, though their collector value is typically higher based on condition and rarity in uncirculated grades. In terms of condition-based valuation, the coin's value varies significantly. In circulated condition, grades VG to VF, most examples are worth face value, 10 cents, or slightly above, typically 20 cents to 50 cents, depending on visual appeal and level of wear. A coin in very fine VF to extremely fine YF condition may command between 75 cents to $1.50, especially if it retains good detail on the Queen's hair, facial features, and the lyrebird's feathers. In about uncirculated AU grades, coins can be valued between $2.00 Australian dollar to $4 Australian dollars, provided they have minimal wear and near full luster. In mint state, MS60 to MS65, the coin's value increases significantly. An MS60 1974 10C coin is typically worth $5.00 Australian dollar to $8 Australian dollars, while an MS63 may reach $10 Australian dollars to $15 Australian dollars depending on eye appeal, brilliance, and absence of contact marks. Coins graded MS65 or higher, especially those with full mint luster and strike sharpness, can range between $20 Australian dollars to $40 Australian dollars, with exceptionally well-preserved examples possibly commanding $50 Australian dollars or more among serious collectors or grading service submissions, like PCGS or NGC. Certified coins in high mint state condition are relatively uncommon due to the age and widespread circulation of this coin type. Additionally, proof versions struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra for collector sets were produced in very limited numbers. A 1974 proof 10C coin, typically found only in complete proof sets, is struck with highly polished dies and planchets, creating a mirror-like surface and frosted devices. These coins can be worth $15 Australian dollars to $30 Australian dollars individually when extracted from the set, but are more valuable when retained in the full original proof set, which can range $50 Australian dollars to $80 Australian dollars or more, depending on condition and packaging. There are no widely known errors or varieties for the 1974 10-cent coin, but any off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or double strikes can increase collector interest and value significantly, sometimes ranging from $10 Australian dollars to $100 Australian dollars plus, depending on the type and visibility of the error. For coins stored properly over the decades, i.e., kept in a cool, dry environment, ideally within coin flips, albums, or capsules, toning may develop, and depending on whether it enhances or detracts from the coin's appeal, this could affect the value positively or negatively. In conclusion, the 1974 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin is a modest yet collectible piece of Australian numismatic history. While readily available in circulated grades, its real numismatic worth emerges in higher uncirculated grades and in pristine proof formats. As with all coins, actual market value will depend on demand, availability, grading, and the presence of any errors or unique visual features. A complete, uncleaned, and well-preserved example of the 1974 10C coin is a respectable addition to any decimal-era Australian coin collection. The 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin from 1983 is a common yet intriguing piece from the Australian decimal coinage series. Made notable by its historical context, widespread circulation, and its resilient cupronickel composition. Struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, this coin features the enduring obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, which was in use from 1966 to 1984. Her right-facing effigy is surrounded by the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 1983, with crisp detailing in higher grades revealing fine lines in the Queen's hair and crown. On the reverse is Stuart Devlin's iconic depiction of a superb lyrebird, with its intricate tail feathers splayed and gracefully detailed, a design that has endured on the 10-cent coin for decades and is a symbol of national pride. The coin has a diameter of 23.60 millimeters, weighs 5.65 grams, and was struck in cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance without being a precious metal coin. In terms of mintage, the 1983 10-cent coin had a production total of approximately 45.9 million, making it a high mintage issue. As such, it is not rare in circulated condition and is commonly found in pocket change in Australia, although examples in uncirculated or mint state MS condition are far scarcer and increasingly desirable to collectors. In good G4 to fine F12 grades, where the coin exhibits significant wear, rounded rims, and faded detail on both the Queen's portrait and lyrebird, its market value is very low, typically 10 cents to 25 cents AUD, mostly of interest for bulk or beginner sets. In very fine VF20 to extremely fine YF40 condition, where most features remain visible with only light to moderate wear, values can increase slightly to 30 cents to $1 AUD, especially if surfaces are free of corrosion or heavy damage. Higher grade examples are where value becomes more apparent. In about uncirculated, -50 Australian dollars to -58 Australian dollars condition, where only minor traces of circulation appear, such coins may fetch $1.50 to $3 AUD, especially if luster remains. In mint state, MS 60 to MS 65 condition, the coin retains full detail, satiny or lustrous surfaces, and minimal contact marks. These are typically worth between $4 and 12 Australian dollars, depending on eye appeal, luster, and strike sharpness. Top-tier examples graded MS 66 or above, particularly those certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can command $15 to 30 Australian dollars or more, though these are relatively scarce. Collectors often seek out full original mint rolls or coins from mint sets for the best preservation. It's worth noting that no major mint errors or die varieties are officially recognized for the 1983 10-cent coin, though occasional off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or die cracks may be found. These errors, depending on severity and uniqueness, can raise the value dramatically, ranging from $20 to several hundred AUD if dramatic and authenticated. Proof versions were not issued for public circulation in 1983, although the Royal Australian Mint may have included some in year-specific collector sets, which would carry significantly higher value, particularly in pristine condition with their original packaging. The historical backdrop of this coin is also notable. Australia in 1983 was undergoing significant political and economic changes, including the election of Prime Minister Bob Hawke and a shifting economy. Decimal coins like this were still relatively. The 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin from 1984 marks the final year of use for the Arnold Machin portrait on the obverse of Australia's 10-cent coins, making it historically important for decimal collectors interested in effigy transitions. The coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, continuing the standard design introduced in 1966, but with nuances that make the 1984 issue distinctive. On the reverse, as with all 10-cent coins since decimalization, is the majestic superb lyrebird, designed by Stuart Devlin, Australia's official goldsmith and coin designer. The bird's elaborate tail feathers arc elegantly over its body and are surrounded by delicately etched lines that represent movement and ground texture. In high-grade coins, these feather details remain sharply defined, showcasing Devlin's talent for microrelief engraving and artistic realism. The obverse displays Queen Elizabeth II facing right, adorned in the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 1984, encircling the rim. The Machin portrait, introduced in 1966, presents the Queen with youthful smoothness and dignity, and 1984 would be the final year this effigy was used on 10-cent coins, replaced the following year by Raphael Maklaff's more mature portrayal of the monarch. This coin is composed of cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, a standard alloy used in Australian coinage for durability and resistance to corrosion. It weighs 5.65 grams, has a diameter of 23.60 millimeters, and is non-magnetic. In terms of mintage, 27.1 million 10-cent coins were struck in 1984, which is relatively low compared to some earlier and later years, especially those exceeding 50 or even 70 million. While not rare in circulated grades, the lower mintage gives the 1984 issue modest collector appeal, especially in high-grade or uncirculated condition. In good G4 to fine F12 condition, circulated examples are heavily worn with flattened hairlines on the queen and smooth tail feathers on the lyrebird, and typically hold only face value to around 20 cents, particularly when sold in bulk or mixed-date lots. Very fine VF20 coins show moderate wear but have clearer outlines on both sides, especially around the tiara and bird's body, and can sell for 30 cents to 50 cents. When the coin grades extremely fine, EF40 or better, more precise features begin to emerge. In this grade, detail in the queen's facial profile, lips, and tiara returns, while the lyrebird's legs, claws, and lower plumage become visibly sharper. These coins can attract 75 cents to $1 Australian and 25 cents, depending on luster and strike strength. About uncirculated, -50 Australian dollars to -58 Australian dollars. Pieces retain most of their original mint luster and show only faint signs of wear on the high points. They are valued at $1 Australian and 50 cents to $2 Australian and 50 cents, with higher pricing for examples with full rims, sharp edge reading, and unblemished fields. In uncirculated or mint state, MS 60 to MS 63 condition, the coin is bright and sharp with full definition in the queen's hair curls and tiara, as well as the lyrebird's layered feather structure. Such coins are worth $3 Australian to $6 Australian, while premium MS 64 to MS 65 coins, especially those with full, original mint brilliance, can command $8 Australian to $15 Australian, particularly if verified by third-party grading services such as NGC or PCGS. The highest-end examples in MS 66 or MS 67, which are difficult to find due to their age and tendency to develop contact marks from mint bagging and handling, can fetch $18 Australian to $35 Australian or more, depending on eye appeal, surface preservation, and market interest. Coins graded MS 68 or higher, though extremely rare, can appear at auction and reach $50 Australian plus, especially for registry set collectors seeking the best available. It's also important to note that no significant varieties or mint errors have been officially catalogued for the 1984 10-cent coin, but occasional examples with off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or strike-throughs do exist. These types of mint errors can raise a coin's value dramatically, often from $20 Australian to $200 Australian or more, depending on the rarity and visual appeal of the error. Although no proof version of the 10-cent coin was issued for public circulation in 1984, the Royal Australian Mint did include this date in official proof coin sets, which were struck to high quality using polished dies and planchets. These proof coins, with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, are highly collectible and valued at around $15 Australian to $30 Australian depending on packaging, market trends, and overall condition. Proofs graded PR 67 or higher may reach $40 Australian to $60 Australian plus among serious collectors. In historical context, the year 1984 saw considerable economic and political development in Australia, including reforms in banking and foreign investment. For coin collectors, 1984 symbolizes the close of the first chapter of Australia's decimal currency portraiture. The final use of the Machin effigy, combined with relatively moderate mintage and clean modern design, gives the 1984 10-cent coin an elevated profile among collectors aiming for effigy set completion, year-type collections, or high-grade decimal runs. As lower-grade examples continue to circulate and degrade, high-end uncirculated coins from this year are increasingly sought after, not necessarily for rarity, but for their place in the evolving legacy of Australian coinage. The 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin from 1993 is a noteworthy decimal issue that appeals to collectors due to its combination of classic design elements, mid-era historical placement, and a comparatively lower mintage figure. This coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and forms part of the long-running series that began with the decimalisation of Australian currency in 1966. The reverse, designed by Stuart Devlin, displays the elegant and iconic superb lyrebird, a uniquely Australian bird celebrated for its stunning tail feathers and unmatched ability to mimic sounds in its environment. The design features the bird standing on a forest floor with its ornate tail arching overhead, an image that has remained consistent on all 10-cent coins for decades. In well-preserved specimens, the intricate feathering, the bird's legs, and the forest texture underfoot are all beautifully defined. On the obverse, the 1993 issue features the Raphael Makhlouf effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, which was in use from 1985 until 1998. This portrait presents a stylized and slightly idealized version of the Queen, facing right and wearing the George IV state diadem. The legend Elizabeth II Australia 1993 encircles the monarch's image with bold, well-spaced lettering. Struck in cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, the coin weighs 5.65 grams, has a diameter of 23.60 millimeters, a thickness of 2.00 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. The surface has a silvery tone and is non-magnetic, with high durability that enables it to survive decades in circulation with minimal degradation. The mintage for the 1993 issue was 26,800,000, which is considerably lower than in surrounding years like 1992 and 1994. While this does not make the coin rare, it does increase its collectability in high grades, especially for those assembling complete decimal year sets or aiming to collect lower mintage circulating coins from the 1990s. In good G4 to fine F12 condition, the coin shows significant wear. In these states, the Queen's facial features, the diadem, and hairlines are worn flat, and the lyrebird's tail feathers are blurred, with rims partially faded. These examples hold only face value, 10 cents, or perhaps 15 to 20 cents in large mixed-date lots. Very fine VF20 coins show moderate circulation, but retain major design elements, such as distinct tiara lines and partial feather detail. These are typically worth 30 cents to 50 cents, especially if the coin has clean surfaces without nicks or corrosion. Extremely fine EF40 condition reflects light with stronger detail. Individual feathers, lines in the Queen's hair, and full rims are clear. These coins may fetch between 75 cents to $1 and 25 cents, especially if they have an attractive silver-gray tone and are well-centered. In about uncirculated, -50 Australian dollars to -58 Australian dollars condition, where the coin retains most of its mint luster and only has the slightest rub on the high points, like the Queen's cheek or lyrebird's wing. Values can reach $1 and 50 cents to $2 and 50 cents. The true collector interest, however, is in mint state, MS60 to MS66 coins. A mint state 60 to 62 example, which has no wear but may show bag marks or slightly dull luster, is generally valued at $3 to $5. Coins grading MS63 to MS64, which display stronger luster, better strike quality, and only light marks, are more desirable and can sell for $6 to $10. At the MS65 to MS66 level, where the coin has glowing luster, excellent strike definition, especially in the lyrebird's feathers and the Queen's diadem, and minimal surface distractions, prices range from $12 to $20, depending on market demand and whether the coin is raw or third-party graded. In MS67 or higher, coins are scarce due to the limited number of high-grade survivors and may fetch $25 to $45 plus, particularly for those entered into registry sets or featured at auction. There are no officially recognized major varieties or errors for the 1993 10-cent coin, but minor mint errors occasionally surface, such as die cracks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, or strike-throughs. A mild die crack or minor strike-through might increase a coin's value by $5 to $20, while more dramatic errors can command $50 to $200, especially if the error is visual and retains a clear date and denomination. Collectors of decimal-era errors pay strong premiums for unusual and eye-catching examples. In terms of proof issues, the 1993 10-cent coin was included in the Royal Australian Mint's official proof sets, where it was struck to a high standard with mirror-like fields and frosted raised devices. These proof coins were not made for circulation and are highly collectible when kept in original packaging. A single 1993 proof 10-cent coin typically sells for $10 to $25, depending on condition, while complete 1993 proof sets can be worth $40 to $70. Proofs graded PR 67 to PR 69, especially in slabs by PCGS or NGC, can sell for $30 to $60, depending on visual appeal and demand. In conclusion, the 1993 10-cent Elizabeth II coin is a solid and collectible issue in Australia's decimal coinage lineup. Its classic design, moderate mintage, and Maklauf portrait give it lasting interest among collectors. While it remains common in circulated condition, its value increases sharply in uncirculated and certified high grades, and it holds long-term appeal for those building complete Australian decimal sets, pursuing date runs, or acquiring high-quality modern coins. The 10-cent Elizabeth II Australia coin from the year 2000 is a notable modern circulation issue within the decimal coin series, blending historical continuity with a refreshed royal portrait introduced just a year earlier. Issued by the Royal Australian Mint, this coin continues the iconic reverse design by Stuart Devlin, featuring the superb lyrebird, a native Australian bird known for its elaborate fan-tail feathers and incredible ability to mimic sounds. The lyrebird, surrounded by stylized lines representing forest ground and movement, has adorned every 10-cent coin since Australia's decimalisation in 1966. However, the obverse of the 2000 issue bears a significant update. It features the Ian Rank Broadley effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, first introduced in 1999, replacing the Raphael Maklauf portrait. Rank Broadley's portrayal is more lifelike and mature, depicting the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with the legend Elizabeth II Australia 2000 around the rim. This portrait style emphasized accuracy over idealism, and collectors often differentiate Rank Broadley coins from prior issues due to this change in design tone. The coin itself is composed of cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, giving it a silver-colored surface that is corrosion-resistant and well-suited to circulation. It measures 23.60 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of 2.00 millimeters, and weighs 5.65 grams. The 2000 dated 10-cent coin had a high mintage of 76,400,000, placing it among the more common issues of the modern era. Its abundance means it remains easy to find in circulation today, particularly in average or worn condition. As such, circulated examples in good G4 to fine F12 condition, where most detail is flattened and surfaces are dull from use, are typically worth only face value, 10 cents, or slightly more in bulk collector lots, 15 cents to 25 cents. These grades show smooth surfaces, loss of finer line details in the lyrebird's tail and the queen's hair, and rim fading. Coins in very fine VF20 or extremely fine YF40 grades retain sharper features, with the lyrebird's legs and ground pattern visible, and queen's hair curls still distinct, though worn. These are commonly valued at 30 cents to 75 cents, particularly if they have good eye appeal and clean surfaces free of major scratches or tarnish. In about uncirculated -$50 to -$58 grades, where coins show only the faintest signs of handling, such as minor rim marks or slight toning, the value rises to around $1 to $2.50, especially for those with partial mint luster remaining. The most desirable examples come in uncirculated or mint state, MS 60 to MS 66 condition. Here, the surfaces remain completely unworn, with sharp edges, full feather details on the lyrebird, and clearly struck features on the queen's face and tiara. Lower range mint state coins, MS 60 to MS 62, can bring $2 to $4, while mid-range examples, MS63 to MS64, typically fetch $5 to $8. Premium pieces in MS65 or MS66, often taken from mint rolls or original year sets, can command $10 to $18, especially if slabbed and graded by NGC or PCGS. In MS67 or above, which are rare and showcase nearly flawless luster and strike, auction or collector prices may exceed $25 to $40, but such coins are not easy to obtain raw. No officially cataloged varieties or rare mint errors are widely recognized for the 2010-cent coin, but like all modern issues, it is possible to find collectible minting anomalies such as off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or cuds. These error coins, if dramatic and authenticated, can raise values substantially, often starting from $20 for minor issues and reaching $100 plus for more striking visual errors. Error collectors in Australia actively seek out such variants for decimal-era coinage. In historical context, the year 2000 marked the turn of the millennium, during which Australia saw a surge in commemorative coinage, including special $1 and $2 issues. But the 10-cent coin remained unchanged in design, serving as a familiar everyday currency piece. Despite its ubiquity, its millennial year date and modern obverse still make it a favored addition to typesets, year sets, and high-grade decimal collections. For young collectors, it offers a budget-friendly introduction to modern numismatics, while serious collectors tend to chase gem-grade examples or pair it with its proof version. Issued in limited quantities in 2,000 proof coin sets, which sell individually for $12 to $30, depending on packaging and condition. In summary, while the 2010-cent Elizabeth II coin is common and easily sourced in average grade, its numismatic value begins to rise sharply in higher mint state levels. It continues to hold relevance in the market for collectors seeking complete decimal-era date runs, attractive modern designs, or pristine examples reflecting the rank-broadly effigy transition. As time progresses and circulation wear increases, high-grade specimens, especially those untouched by circulation, are likely to gain modest yet steady appreciation among Australian coin enthusiasts.